Hello, I'm Gloria Stefan. As the mother of two wonderful children myself, I was shocked by some very disturbing news I heard recently. Did you know that injuries are the #1 killer of children under 5 in America? And that last year alone, nearly 9 million kids ended up in hospital emergency rooms with an injury? As parents, our first job is to protect our little ones. I love my children more than anything, and one of the best ways I can show that love is by making sure they're safe and sound. Today we're going to talk about how you can do that for your own kids. It begins from the day no parent can ever forget, the day you bring your new baby home from the hospital. You need to think about your baby's safety right from the start. And the first thing you've got to consider is how you're going to bring him home. Baby's first ride must be a safe ride. The old saying about nothing being safer than a mother's arms just doesn't apply to the car. You've got to use the right car seat. And that seat has to be properly installed. There are many brands of car seats. If it's not a new one, you can check to see if it's approved by calling the number on the screen, 1-800-424-9393. Whatever seat you have, you've got to make sure you're putting it in right. Your pediatrician has a checklist. And even before you bring baby home, read the manual that comes with the seat, as well as your car's owner's manual. Follow the directions for proper installation. Infant car seats must always be placed facing backwards in the back seat, which is where all kids should ride.
The recommended age currently for turning a child from rear-facing to forward-facing is that the child must be 20 pounds and 1 year of age before you turn them around and face them forward. And that really has to do with the ability of the child to handle the impact of a forward-facing crash in the design of the seat. Children are projectiles, and even in a low-speed crash, a child will fly forward and hit the dashboard or even go out of the car. And what the studies show is that 85% of car seats are used incorrectly. So parents need to be aware of some of the common mistakes that they make when they install a car seat. Some of the very basic things, such as the straps need to be tight and the seat needs to be buckled in tightly into the car. I think the rule of thumb that we recommend is that there be very little movement in the car seat, either from side to side or from front to back. It's very, very important to keep children buckled up in child safety seats.
How'd you like your first car ride, huh?
Now we're home. Yeah.
Once your baby's home, there are a lot of things you've got to think about to keep your child safe. Things you might not have ever thought of, like feeding.
You ready?
Breastfeeding is the best way to go for your baby. It gives her all the nutrition and protection from diseases she needs. And it's also the safest.
That's a good girl.
When you attended the
Just make sure your newborn's nose doesn't get blocked while he's feeding. With formula, there are a few more things to consider. First, always check the expiration date on the formula you're using. Formula can spoil. Then, clean the container thoroughly with hot water before opening, and always wash the can opener after each use. Heat the bottle by running hot water over it until it's about body temperature. Test it by shaking a few drops on your inner wrist. Never heat the formula in the microwave. And don't reuse leftover formula. It's a breeding ground for germs. Newborns sleep a lot, up to 20 hours a day, and you have to make sure your baby's sleeping area is safe. The bars on the crib should be narrow enough so your child can't ever stick her head through and get caught. For the first 6 months, infants should never have pillows, blankets, or stuffed animals in the crib. They can suffocate a child. Among children under a year, suffocation is the leading cause of accidental death. Instead of using blankets, dress your baby warmly and put her on a mattress with clean sheets. And always put her to sleep on her back. It's been proven that babies who sleep on their backs have less chance of problems like sudden infant death syndrome. By the way, when your baby gets older and can stand in the crib, make sure there isn't anything dangerous right next to it, like lamps or window shade cords. Later on, if you put your baby in a playpen, follow the same guidelines you do with the crib. As a parent, you're going to be changing a lot of diapers, and safety's a must here too. Make sure you never turn your back or leave the baby on a changing surface alone, even for a minute. An infant can roll right off and be seriously hurt. Try to keep a hand on the child at all times, and when she starts to reach, make sure your baby can't get at the changing supplies. Believe it or not, infants have died from inhaling baby powder. Give him a toy to occupy his hands. Bath time. It can be a fun time for parents and kids, a wonderful daily ritual. Make sure you always test the water before putting baby in. It should be comfortable to the touch, not too hot. Keep your baby away from the faucet so she can't grab the hot water knob. And be sure your water heater is turned down to no more than 120 degrees so scalding water will never come out of the tap. Whatever the age, never ever leave your baby alone in the bath. Children can slip and hurt themselves in a second. They can even drown in as little as an inch of water.
Hi, sweetie. Hi. What are you doing?
A few more things to watch out for in the first few months. Babies' necks are weak for the first couple of months, so make sure they're always supported.
Come on, let's go in Naya's room.
Be careful with pets. Never leave them alone with your new baby.
Good puppy.
And later, even if the child and pet have been okay together, always keep an eye on things.
Wow. Can you sit down? Good girl.
As your baby grows, so do her abilities to explore her world. She soon begins to sit up, reach out, and grab what she's after. And absolutely everything ends up in his mouth. This is the time when choking first becomes an issue.
Children can choke on two kinds of objects, toys and food. And when I say toys, I include any object the child can get their hand on. Toys are made safe by making them so big the child can't get them in their mouth. You need to evaluate toys very carefully as a parent because the overall toy may be safe, but parts that come off of it may not be.
Can I have that? Carrie,
Toddlers are at risk for choking for a number of reasons. One of the most important is that their front teeth, the biting teeth, develop before the back teeth, the grinding teeth. So toddlers can bite off a piece of hot dog, but they do not have the back teeth, the molars, which would grind it to a paste and make it safe for them to swallow.
small, the way you like it. Don't want you to choke.
A hot dog should be cut lengthwise twice and then crosswise into tiny little blocks. A grape should be cut at least into 4 pieces, if not 8 pieces. Some foods can never be made safe. Hard candy and nuts cannot be made safe for a 2-year-old to eat. Balloons are extraordinarily dangerous. They cause about 1/3 of all choking fatalities. Balloons cause choking fatalities up to about the age of 8.
If you do see your baby choking, you've got to act fast. Here's what to do.
To tell if a baby's choking, you need to, one, look at the skin color. A baby will turn blue when it's not getting the oxygen. That's called cyanosis. Another way is a baby won't make any sound.
We usually grab the baby by the ankles, slide a hand in underneath the baby so you're supporting the baby's head. Pick up the baby. You want to make a V with your thumb and your forefinger. Grab the baby's jaw, make a sandwich out of the baby, turn the baby over, bring your forearm down to your thigh, and it's 5 back blows between the baby's shoulder blades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you want to support the baby's head, again over onto the other thigh, and we draw a straight line between the nipples
The ring finger goes on that line in the middle of the chest, 2 fingers in line behind the ring finger. You want to pick up the ring finger, and we're going to do 5 chest thrusts about 1 inch deep. Then you want to support the baby's head, again, with your thumb and your forefinger. When you hear the baby start to cry, that's an indication that the baby's airway has been cleared. Once the airway is cleared on a baby, it's very important that the baby be checked by a physician. The universal sign for choking is the hands to the throat, the way Santa has here. Another way you can tell if a child is choking is a child may not be able to cough, child may not be able to speak. You may get a change in color of the skin. What we want to do is come around behind the child, kneel down to the same height as the child, come around, find the child's navel, make a fist with the other hand, comes right above the belly button, grab the fist, and we're going to do a swooping motion. You come in and then up. And what we're trying to do is force the air in the child's lungs up the airway so we can force that object out of the airway.
The procedures you just saw can save your child's life, but you need to really learn and practice them. Get in touch with your local Red Cross, which offers instruction in how to handle choking, as well as classes in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, which you need to know if your baby is unconscious and not breathing. As your baby reaches 8 months or so, she begins to stand, and before you know it, start walking. And the more mobile she is, the more trouble she can get into. It's a good time to start baby-proofing the house. And the best way to do this is to get down on your hands and knees for a baby's eye view of what he can get into. Let's take a tour. Electric outlets are a hazard. Children love to stick their wet fingers in the little holes. Safety plugs are a must for every outlet, especially the ones along the baseboard. Electric cords are dangerous too, including extension cords. A child can pull a lamp down on his head or bite through a cord to live electricity. Wrap cords around table legs, hide them, or tape them down. Venetian blind cords are also dangerous. Kids can so easily get caught up in them and strangle themselves. Many do each year. Be sure to wrap the cords and put them up out of reach, or use the new cordless blinds. It's a lot safer. It's the time to use safety gates at the top and bottom of the stairs, and use the kind your baby can't pinch his fingers on or stick his head through. It's also time to look out for sharp edges like on coffee tables. Kids fall on them all the time. The cuts can be nasty. If you can, remove the tables or buy table pads to soften the blows. As your child is learning to walk, it's tempting to get them a walker, but please don't. They've been proven to be very dangerous. Babies can tip them over and break an arm or hurt their head. Other things to watch out for at this age: hot radiators or floor grills, which can burn little hands. Make sure they're covered. And houseplants they can get into and eat. Some plants are poisonous, so keep them off the floor. Find out the number for your poison control center and put it next to your phones. As your baby gets even more mobile and begins to be able to climb, make another tour of the house. Look at the windows. Make sure they're closed so she can't fall out. Don't put chairs or couches he can climb on next to the windows. Especially if you're living in a high-rise, window guards are a good idea. They may even be required by law in your city. Window guards should be put on all windows above the first floor. And by the way, chewing the paint on windowsills is still one of the main ways kids come down with lead poisoning. Make sure your house or apartment has been tested and any lead paint removed. Also, make sure you have working smoke detectors in the house. Put them near the room you sleep in. Instructions on how many you need and where else to put them can be found on the packaging. Go to your hardware or drugstore